Angie, and welcome to my channel, Undiagnosed. Tuesday nights, I go live to talk about my stories and my lessons, and this is episode 3. And I'm going to read an article that was written and printed by a friend of mine, Tiana Lee. This is an article from back in 2022. Tiana and I did a photo shoot in 2020 together. Okay, so back in 2020, it was February 9th of 2020 when we met, and I was on a Women Empower Women movement at the time. And that photo shoot was the beginning, the first part of the first part of what I like to call a Women Empower Women movement that I went on after that. And by movement, I mean just consciously making more of an effort to be a better woman towards women. So tonight I'm going to talk about the article that Tiana wrote. I'm going to read it. She interviewed me and then she wrote this article, and it's called From Addict to Asset. And so I think this is a really great spot to jump off on as I start telling my stories and my lessons that I've experienced in my recovery from alcohol use disorder. So let me put my glasses on here, and I'm going to just take it a little at a time and just read what this article says. So, From Addict to Asset, Angie Peter gives an inside look at conquering the real issues behind addiction and using the journey to empower others. So, after I saw the title was going to be From Addict to Asset, I wrote her back and I said, I think I'm always going to have addictive tendencies, so I don't know that that's the best title. But we kept it, and then she added a little bit here. So it says, one might still call me an addict. You never just aren't an addict after being an addict. I have tendencies and behaviors that brought me into addiction, and those things will always require strict maintenance. I do, however, have control of them now, and thus have the opportunity to be an asset. I had to take my power back when overcoming alcohol addiction and face my shadows head on. Looking at me now, you'll see a founder and a board chairperson for Be the Light Foundation, who is always taking photos, traveling, and spending a lot of time in nature. I love a good flea market. I'll stop at all car shows, and I might stop at a bike rally. One 21-year-old human calls me mom. I'm very proud of my daughter, Josie. I grew up on an Iowa farm. Fun fact, I was once the Boone County beef queen and then went on to the Iowa District 8 beef queen in the early 1990s. It sounds like kind of normal, like I'm living my life, but there was a time when I was barely hanging on. So the question is, what did that time look like for you? And here's the image that she took and created, and that's a great representation of kind of how I felt. I just felt warped, like twisted from my original young self. So let me keep reading here. Oh, sorry, there's my dog. I'm going to squish him. Hey, Finley. Okay. So what did that time look like for you? I spent most of my life worried about what everyone else thought about everything, about how I looked, sounded, acted, and specifically about my body and what I weighed. I can trace my body image issues back to age 7 or 8. The clash between what my spirit wanted to be, what my parents encouraged me to be, and what society influenced me to be is where my warp started. Right there. The confusion created in my 7-year-old brain by being told, be yourself, sweetheart. Oh, no, not like that. Be yourself, but not like that. That's where I remember starting to learn about conforming to our society, and the conditioning is where my emotional suppression started. It was at that age where I started covering up my authentic feelings, did what I was told, minded my manners, didn't question authority, and conform to most of the expectations and rules. I was still very stubborn. Now I'm not reading anymore. I was very stubborn, very mouthy, very hard headed. I was, looking back, not a difficult or not an easy. I was difficult. I think I was difficult. Maybe I was just told I was difficult, but looking back, I was a little stubborn and a little mouthy. Um, Bear with me here. My addictive tendencies started to show up at that time. Food. Food was the first thing I overindulged in that further complicated my issues. I snuck pudding that would eat, and I would eat the entire bowl in my closet alone so nobody could stop me. I remember feeling satiated in the moment, but then those feelings were quickly replaced by anxiety, shame, and guilt. I gained unnecessary and unhealthy weight and became the chubby, curly-haired kids that the others poked fun at. I could never quite live up to the expectations. The images I saw in magazines and on TV shows were something I certainly was not, nor could ever be. And I'm going to stop there, but I have to understand too that I was young. I was 7 or 8 years old, and I was looking at women that were, of course, then like 20, 21, 22-year-old women. And yeah. And so I was certainly not. So I learned very early that I'm not those things. The mental mind warp caused lasting mental health issues that only exacerbated themselves as the years went on. Alcohol was the substance that my overindulgence and abuse of would kill me. I was on a downward mental spiral at age 44. I had alienated all my close friends and family. My mental health had become more chaotic and unstable, so I surrendered. How would you say you surrendered? There's the question. Well, I checked into a rehabilitation program in Florida called Beaches Recovery. I humbled myself and reevaluated my beliefs and my ways. I reevaluated why and how I've been doing things for years. I reinvented myself because I was getting a few things wrong and life had become unmanageable. In rebuilding myself, I am letting the authentic me out. Honesty is the key. And honesty is one of the founding principles of Be the Light Foundation that I mentioned back here. Now, this was written in 2022. In 2020. So this is some thoughts of mine like way back, and I hold true. Honesty is the key. The truth shall set you free. So it sounds like honesty was an important lesson for you. Can you elaborate on that? I was my own biggest challenge. And that's the part that a lot of people have a hard time coming to terms with, is that our own responsibility in our human experience. We like to blame other people. We like to do the yeah, but they did, yeah, but he was, yeah, but they did, yeah, but I had, we are responsible for ourselves. And that was a key moment for me. I am my own biggest challenge. I am my own biggest challenge. Me. I had to shift years and years of mental conditioning and start to think, believe, and act in a new way. I am the one who is the hardest on myself. Learning to not worry about what other people thought was a big deal too. I remember seeing a post by one of the social media influencers I follow, and it said, "Fuck the likes, deliver the message." Fuck the likes and deliver the message. It was about honesty. As my recovery continued, I was able to become more and more honest with myself and subsequently those around me. The more honest I became, the easier and less stressful my life became. The more honest I became, the easier and less stressful my life became. That's what started happening. And this is my words from 2022. I felt more peace and comfort. It feels good to live honestly with no excuses, lies, or stories to maintain. Were there other things honesty within yourself brought out besides acknowledging addiction and its consequences? There's Tiana's question to me. Were there other things honesty within yourself brought out besides acknowledging addiction and its consequences? So yes, we are so conditioned to be fake and make up excuses and untruths to cover for ourselves that honesty seems aggressive. It it really seems aggressive in our culture because we have been trained. If you can't make it to the baby shower, you got to make an excuse. If you don't want to go bowling, you have to come up with an excuse. And we almost instinctively just offer an excuse. And then yeah, we're so conditioned to be fake and make up excuses and untruths to cover for ourselves that honesty seems aggressive. I had been called out by an ex. They said I had jealousy issues. Okay, fair. So I began a self-evaluation. I took it to heart, uh, which revealed that I do compare myself too much to other women, and that it's not necessary. It's not. I felt moved by the Spirit to share on social media more in hopes to empower other women. So way back in 2022, late 2021, yeah, we've got to stop comparing ourselves to one another. When people tell me I'm so jealous, oh, I'm so jealous. You get to do this and that. I'm so jealous. Please don't be. Please don't be, because there's plenty for everyone. It's think abundance. So I got called out by an ex. They said I had jealousy issues. So I began a huge self-evaluation. And that is what led to this photo shoot that led to this article. So, excuse me too. I've kind of been feeling a little under the weather. All right. I felt moved by the Spirit to share on social media more in hopes to empower women. I also made it a focus to compliment women more and compare less. We rise by lifting others. Honesty in that situation snowballed into self-love, healing, and then love for others. So, honesty in that situation of me overcoming my jealous tendencies towards other women, it really led to me loving myself more and understanding my value more. I'm an ever evolving person. So, that deep dive into my jealousy issues is what led me to this photo shoot. And I went into this photo shoot specifically to take this picture of my fupa, my big belly, and show it off and be the one in control that got to show off this belly that I have, that I felt like nobody else on earth had. And so once I freed myself of the shame of my fat body, it was a huge empowering moment. So the photo shoot went down in February of 2020. Wow, that's a big one. I'm glad you overcame that. You said you use social media. Can you elaborate on that? My photo shoot was specifically for me to show the world one consequence of my unhealth, and that's my belly. So then everyone has already seen it, and I don't have to worry about anyone else seeing it. It's like yesterday's news. Once I show it off, it loses its power over me and my life. My passion is helping others. I want to share what I have learned and share the life I have created through the recovery of my mental, spiritual, and emotional self from alcohol use disorder. I believe the issues I deal with are not unique to me. Others can relate, and others need to hear that they are not alone. I want to inspire humans. I feel like there's a lot of people impacted by alcohol use disorder. What would you say to women currently going through this? The truth shall set you free. The truth shall set you free. When you live your life out loud, honestly and authentically, in a state of grace, you allow others to live their authentic lives out loud as well. It's like a free pass that once you start acting and living authentically, people feel more comfortable doing that around you. So I want to inspire humans. This is what the world needs. It needs more of you, your authenticity. Take off the masks, make a choice to be honest, and live their authentic lives out loud too. If you're unsure how to start unraveling, start by being silent instead of making excuses or telling untruths. Like I was talking about that baby shower you can't make it to, or whatever, you can't make it to the birthday party. Just say, I can't make it. Don't put an untruth out there. Just be silent. Find new ways to do life. Find a place where you can talk and be yourself with others who are going through it too. And by it, I'm not just talking about recovery from alcohol use disorder. Going through it, it could be the death of a loved one. It could be the loss of a job. It could be a divorce. It could be a porn addiction. It could be a drug addiction. It could be a gambling addiction. It could be a food addiction. It could be an alcohol addiction. Anyone going through it that needs to make some change so that they have more ease in their life. So find a place where you can talk and be yourself with others who are going through it too, and they can relate. Start talking. Get all those emotions out of your physical shell. Start talking. Start writing. Start painting, singing, dancing, playing the guitar. Something to use as an energetic outlet, and then keep doing it. Keep doing it. Consistency. Don't worry about losing people in your life. You're probably going to lose some friends and acquaintances as you change your life. They may be clogging up your positive energy and blocking your blessings. They may need to go from your present reality as they no longer serve you well. As you close your eyes, tell your story out loud. When you come to the present part of your story, the today part, open up your eyes and look around. Those people there listening to you, those are your people. This is your new life. Welcome. So many good takeaways. How could other women best support someone who is on a similar journey? How do you support someone that wants to stop doing something that's harming their lives, like drinking alcohol? Maybe you can't go off to a treatment center. How can we help other women? Just be supportive. And here's my answer. It says, don't judge harshly or gossip about them. Don't gossip. Don't speak poorly on someone else's name. Don't gossip. Don't judge harshly. Keep in mind, we're all going through something. Encourage that person to surround themselves with positive influences and people they want to be like. Encourage that person to stay away from taking advice from someone they don't want to be like. Cut ties with bad influences and get daily positive input. I would encourage you to avoid negative media. Turn off the TV. So if you want to quit drinking and change your life, you've got to start changing your daily, day-to-day behaviors and get around other non-drinking people. You mentioned the word encourage a lot there. What was something that really helped you? Yes, I have to say, stay connected to inspiring and then uplifting humans. Stay connected to others who are moving in the same direction as me was also important. And setting goals and staying focused on the goals was too. Celebrating daily victories, because I know they add up. They add up. Small daily victories. You spoke earlier on Be the Light Foundation. Can you tell me more about that? Now, this was back in 2022 that this was written. just 1 year after I founded it. So Be the Light Foundation's mission is to empower those in early stages of alcohol addiction recovery. My goal is to buy a house, live there, and share it, meaning the home, share the house, share my story and therapies with others. My goal is to create a space for recovery for those who need it. When you live your life out loud, honestly, authentically, and in a state of grace, you allow others to live their lives authentically and out loud as well. How can someone get in contact with your foundation? Should they need resources for someone? Right now, we are just in Iowa. Our goal is to be nationwide. Iowans can go to our Facebook page, and we now have a website, www.bethelightfoundation.org. And I have 2 nonprofits now since this article. I have Be the Light Charitable Fund as well. And then there's that picture right there from the 2020 photo shoot that kind of, like I said, this woman had to exist to have this woman exist here tonight. So, to recap here, why'd you drink? Why did I drink? I was chasing worldly, putting myself up and comparing myself to what worldly expectations were, and I got away from godly expectations. So we put too much pressure on ourselves, cause it to warp. Yeah. So that is a look inside this article. I'll probably take one topic and for next week's live, or I'll look in the comments. I'll look in the comments and the questions below and see if anybody wants to talk about something more in depth. But that's going to wrap up episode 3 of my stories and my lessons. And thanks for tuning in. Thank you for all your support, and I will see you guys back here on next Tuesday.